This talk and focusing on the ear. So, when we talk about our sense of hearing, we're going to focus first with our external ear. So, the ear that you can, part of the ear that you can see, the outside of all of our heads. So, when we're looking here, the auricle or the pinna is this, the outer part here. And the auditory canal would be, if you use Q-tips, what you put the Q-tip down. So that's the part that opens up and goes down to where the eardrum is. So those are really the only two parts you'll be responsible for there. There's a lot more parts you can see, but we're not going to have those. So some people can actually wiggle their ears on command without using their hands. If you have dogs or cats or most animals, they can do it very well. They do it on purpose. They usually serve to swivel their ears toward a sound so they can hear it better. And they have a group of muscles called the auricularies that are responsible for this movement. You have those muscles too, but for us, it's considered a vestigial trait, a trait that doesn't really function. It was important to our ancestors, but no use to us anymore. But it's definitely a trait that is used a lot by mammals like dogs and horses and cows. Here is a little better picture of, we said, the auricle or the pinna, the outer ear, and then here is the auditory canal, which will lead up to some parts that we'll talk about next. So, the middle ear. Everything about your outer ear is designed to funnel sound into your middle ear. So the first thing you're going to come up in contact with is the eardrum, or tympanic membrane, or tympanum. Depends which book you're looking at or what resource you're using. After the sound vibrations, because sound are just vibrations, hit the tympanic membrane or the eardrum, those vibrations pass through the three smallest bones in your body. Collectively, as a group, those three are called the auditory ossicles, but they also have their own name. And the first bone that gets the vibration is the malleus, then the incus, and then the stapes. And their job collectively is to transmit that vibration that hit the tympanic eardrum, the membrane, and amplify it, make it bigger. And there's also something in the middle ear called the auditory tube, fancy name eustachian tube. And that gets infected a lot in little kids. If they have an ear infection, it's usually their eustachian tube that's effective, and it connects the middle ears to the throat, helps maintaining ear pressure. That's why if you've ever flown on an airplane, it feels like your ears are kind of clogged. If you swallow or chew gum, the eustachian tube is what's responsible for kind of recalibrating that air pressure and making your ears kind of pop and feel normal. Good. Pause while you put this in here. Don't forget to label your picture too. All right, your inner ear. They call it a labyrinth. It's like a maze of communicating chambers and tubes. You have your semicircular canals, your endolymphatic duct, your utricle, saccule, cochlea. You might have heard of the semicircular canals and cochlea. Probably the cochlea most of us have heard of, but if not, don't worry, we'll talk about each of them today. So, semicircular canals are what gives us our sense of equilibrium or balance. The cochlea is where hearing is processed. And the organ of Corti, which ties in with the cochlea, contains hearing receptors, little hair cells that detect vibrations from those sound waves. And as they kind of bend over by the different wavelengths, it lets us recognize different pitches and sounds. I can't hear as well as most of you, although possibly some of you, because you guys, your earbuds are causing your hearing to go bad at a quicker, earlier rate than ours did, people my age. But generally, as you age, you lose your sense of hearing, or at least it gets worse. And that's due to those hair cells. Loud cells damage those fibers, and the more of them that have been damaged and messed up, well, the less you are able to hear. And if you are using the slides or want to do this, if you click on a link here, there'll be a little hearing test. We did it in class, and almost all the students could hear sounds that I was no longer hearing, because I'm much older than you, and I've damaged enough of these hair cells in my cochlea. Go ahead and pause here. Make sure you fill in your diagram as well. All right, so how do you hear? What are the steps involved? So the first thing is a sound wave enters your external auditory canal. Remember where you put your Q-tip. The vibration then hits the eardrum or the tympanic membrane, the same thing, and it vibrates, which causes that vibration to transfer to the auditory ossicles, the three smallest bones in your body, the malleus, incus, stapes, and they magnify it, make it a bigger vibration. The stapes, the third of those little bones, hits the oval window in the inner ear and transmits vibrations to the cochlea. Within the cochlea, we have those organs of Corti with those hair receptor cells that deform from the vibrations. So bigger vibrations, more deformity. That's why you hear it louder in different pitches. And then those impulses are sent to the vestibulocochlear nerve. Remember, we called this the auditory nerve when we went over cranial nerves. But now we can call it either. And hopefully we think, oh, cochlear, cochlea. That's why they name it that. The auditory cortex of the temporal lobe, remember temporal lobe is the part of our brain that interprets senses like hearing. And then the round window, where do we mention that? Up here, dissipates the vibrations within the cochlea. So we don't keep hearing the same sound forever that we heard, and we don't need to keep hearing. So this picture kind of breaks down our external ear, our middle ear, and then our inner ear, and the parts we need to know for those. Another picture. Remember, we said the first step, sound comes in the auditory canal. It's the oval window, which causes that to vibrate, transfers the vibrations to the three little bones that amplify it. Those three little bones hit the oval window. The oval window transmits that to the cochlea. The cochlea, we said, has hairs in it that deform. Those signals go through the vestibulocochlear nerve into the temporal region of the brain, and it's processed there. So you might know somebody that's deaf or partially deaf, and or seen somebody that has a cochlear implant. They're a lot better now. I mean, you don't notice them as much. But a cochlear implant receives sound from the outside environment, like you see here, and processes it and sends small electrical currents down to right next to the auditory nerve, because that does not work in a person who can't hear well. The brain learns to recognize this signal, and the person experiences this as hearing. And if you have the slideshow open, you click this, it's a pretty cool little video of an 8-month-old who was basically couldn't hear much, if anything, and he got a cochlear implant and then was able to hear and is quite happy about that. And you can Google this, how a cochlear implant works, if you want to learn a little bit more about it. Pause while you put all this into your notes. So, sense of equilibrium or balance. There's kind of different processes involved here. Static equilibrium is what's responsible for maintaining your stability and posture. Dynamic equilibrium is involved when we have to maintain balance during a sudden movement, like if you're running, jumping, that sort of thing. But either way, your cerebellum is interpreting impulses from, remember, those semicircular canals, and maintaining your overall balance. That's what's processing it. Part of the brain that processes it. I think I forgot to put the last part of the notes in, so give me a quick second. Sorry about that. Yes, so this is the last part, and this is the part that will go in your notes. Once you copy those, you are done, so pause it here so the video doesn't end on you.